Hey, welcome to Full Frontal. I'm Samantha Bee. It feels like this happens every year. Halloween is barely over. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and already everyone's talking about the attack on abortion rights season. Oh, for gosh sakes, Brett Kavanaugh already has his decorations up. And that's because this year, the Supreme Court is going all out.
The Supreme Court will take up two major and possibly consequential abortion cases this term.
It's likely to be the most important term for abortion rights in at least 3 decades.
If Roe is reversed, probably almost half the states in the United States would strictly limit abortion and perhaps ban it altogether.
Oh, come on. If the Supreme Court reversed jumping off a bridge, would almost half the states do that too? Yeah, probably. At least South Dakota. On Monday, the court heard arguments in 2 fast-track cases against Texas abortion law SB 8. The law just went into effect in September, and to refresh your memory, it blows.
So that law, just to remind you, effectively bans abortions after 6 weeks. There is no exception for rape or incest. And it also empowers private citizens to sue anyone who helps facilitate an abortion.
Under the law, you can sue the doctor, the medical staff at the clinic, and anyone who drives a woman to their appointment.
You can also sue the horse you rode to the clinic. That's the real reason they killed Seabiscuit. But just like how arguments with your partner over loading the dishwasher are never really about the dishwasher, the arguments heard on SB 8 on Monday weren't really about abortion.
So the first lawsuit that we saw play out was brought by this group of abortion providers in the state of Texas. The key question there is whether or not the state of Texas can pass a law that is insulated from federal court review that seemingly denies a constitutionally established right. The second case was brought by the Justice Department. And again, the key question there is whether the United States can even sue in federal court Texas and state officials. We're going to hear the justices try to wrestle with these procedural issues.
Man, I'd like to see the justices wrestle with the issues. I would pay so much money to watch Justice Sotomayor hit Neil Gorsuch with a pile driver. While we don't yet have an official ruling, it appeared on Monday that the court might be leaning toward allowing lower courts to block the Texas law, and some of the leaners might surprise you.
Amy Coney Barrett's soundbite there is the fact that she's questioning the structure of this Texas law, the way that Texas has essentially tried to evade federal judicial review here. Justice Brett Kavanaugh also asked some questions, basically saying if Texas can pass this law stopping abortions, what's to stop other states from passing laws that might restrict other constitutional rights, perhaps gun rights?
So I guess he's protecting abortion rights by protecting gun rights? Even if SCOTUS allows either challenge to move forward, the fight is far from over. On December 1st, the court will hear arguments to a Mississippi abortion ban, and the outcome could be the most consequential abortion rights ruling in decades.
The Supreme Court case out of Mississippi scheduled for this fall could have a far more sweeping impact. Abortion opponents are calling it the best chance in 50 years of overturning Roe versus Wade. Abortion rights advocates warn it could clear the way for every state to write their own abortion bans.
It's my goal to ultimately overturn Roe v. Wade because I think the court got it wrong then.
And Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves has the authority here because his face always looks like it just squeezed out of a birthing canal. For nearly 50 years, Roe v. Wade has theoretically allowed abortion before about the 24th week of pregnancy. But in 2018, Mississippi's Republican-dominated legislature outlawed abortions at 15 weeks, which was, at the time, the earliest in the nation. Amazingly, the law never went into effect because it was immediately struck down by a federal judge. Thank God. Who knew 2018 was going to be the good year? I mean, sure, bad things happen, but all I remember now is Gritty and A Star is Born. So quantum leap me back to that shit. Mississippi's law is being challenged by the Jackson Women's Health Organization, which is now the only abortion clinic in the state. It can't be overstated how significant this case is in the battle to protect abortion rights, particularly with the Supreme Court so conservative they make their statue of Lady Justice stand behind a statue of Mr. Justice. If the Supreme Court overturns Roe, we will live in a country where every state creates its own rules on abortion. 22 states, mostly in the South and Midwest, are poised to ban abortion in almost all cases. Meanwhile, some states, like Oregon and Vermont, have codified reliable and equitable abortion access. That means that wealthy women who live in states where abortion is outlawed will still be able to afford traveling elsewhere, but others won't be so fortunate.
A single mother who is working at a job at $8 an hour, who doesn't have PTO or days to take off of work, who doesn't have an infrastructure or support system already, the feat of getting out of state is impossible for her. It will affect women of color and low-income women the most.
3/4 of people seeking abortions are low income, many of whom are people of color, and they will face barriers that will make it almost impossible to get to another state. Think of it as a modern-day Oregon Trail where all the pioneers are pregnant and instead of dysentery, you die of Amy Coney Barrett. If Roe is overturned, 41% of women of childbearing age would see their nearest abortion clinic close, and women seeking abortions would have to travel an average of 279 miles for access. The only reason a woman should ever have to travel 279 miles is to see 80s Canadian rock gods Loverboy. They were working for the weekend, and what I did with them was kind of a job as well. Since the Roe decision, states have enacted hundreds of restrictions to abortion access. In much of the country, for low-income people and people of color, the crisis of a post-Roe world is already here. Thankfully, people are fighting back. Organizers in conservative states have built shadow infrastructures to help people overcome legal, financial, and geographic barriers to access. Incidentally, Shadow Infrastructures is also the name of HBO's next prestige drama starring Nicole Kidman. She bravely plays a brunette, something I would never do. There's not enough money on this great green earth. Look, the decisions the Supreme Court is making will impact lives for generations. We can't give up hope, and we cannot stop fighting, because abortion is healthcare. We'll be right back. Aw, thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear more from Full Frontal, hit subscribe and visit our page for more videos. Or if you'd like to be radicalized, leave YouTube on autoplay.